So before I start, I just want to say I'm being like dramatic as fuck. Like I gave it a try for like maybe 2 to 3 years. 3 years if you count my years of studying theater and then 1 year of actually working in the field. And then I kind of gave up after like 6 months of unemployment. So if you think about it, in terms of like an actor's career, that's like if I wanted to become a doctor and then after 6 months of school, I was like, I'm still not a doctor, I'm just a failure. And I don't mean to like discourage anybody, like anybody at all, because this is not impossible. Like I'm just saying, like I just wanted to talk a little bit about the things that I've learned, because maybe the things that I've learned can make somebody else more successful in their pursuits, because I know that I had a lot of misconceptions about this career going in, and I just wanted to yap a little bit about it. I don't know. Yeah. So I should start with a little bit about my background. So I didn't take my theatrical training seriously until I was about like 17 to 18 years old. I'd always like been like very like I always had an affinity for performance art, but I didn't really start like going ham at it until I was a senior in high school, and then I decided to major in theater for college, and I received a really fantastic theatrical education, and I was going to a community college at the time. So I wasn't accepted into my local university's acting BFA, and then I didn't have the financial means to live outside of home to go to another university for their acting BFA. So I decided that I want to be an actor. I don't really need a bachelor's degree to do that. So I think it'd be more beneficial to me to go and like continue studying at some other independent studios in acting, dance, and voice. And then I would just continue like working as an actor and just seeing how things go. And it went really good for me for a while. I mean, I wasn't being paid for most of the things that I was doing, but I was being cast. The only paid project that I ever did was being an actor at a theme park for some time. So that was pretty cool. And when I got that job was only for the Halloween and Christmas season. So I was out of a job when that ended, and then I was like, there's so many other theme parks around. Like I already have the experience, I have the skills. I'm gonna be able to get another job at another theme park, no problem. I did not get another job. I was unemployed for 6 months, and then I was like, this is too hard. This is too stressful. I still want to do this. I still want to do professional musical theater, but I don't want this to be my sole source of income. Which brings me to my first point. Acting is not a career, it's a lifestyle. Acting is not a career, it's a lifestyle. What do I mean by this? I mean many things. I think the most obvious part is that you need a real job. Like this made me so mad when people told me to get a real job, because it like, to me, it conveyed a lack of faith in my abilities. It conveyed like a lack of trust. Like I know that it's hard, but it's like you don't trust me that I can persevere. Like you don't trust me that I can make my own way, you know? But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this industry, as an actor, you are one, a self-owned business. You work on a contract by contract basis. You are providing a luxury service. Your competitors are in the 1 billions, and they're all more qualified, more talented, more experienced, and they'll do the exact same job that you would do for free. So like this is just a terrible business to be in. Like in this economy, to live off of that, to raise a family, to even support yourself, like it's a struggle for everybody out there. And I will tell you right now that unless somebody's daddy is a hedge fund owner, then they're not doing this without another job. And that's fine. In fact, I think that's great. I think that's fantastic, because you know what this gives you? An opportunity to develop a personality. Now hear me out. You have other skills. You have other interests. You have other passions. And to live a life in pursuit of like passions besides theatrical pursuits are gonna make you a much more interesting actor They're gonna give you some life experiences that you can draw from in your acting process. It's gonna make you more interesting to casting directors, to other people in the industry. Like imagine you talk to 1 billion actors per day and they all say, oh yeah, I'm an actor, I got a BFA, trained in Shakespeare, did like 5 student films. Like everybody says that, everybody does that. The people want somebody that's different, that's interesting, that's unique, and you can have that if you get like another job that inspires you, that enables you to give meaning to your I shouldn't say that because now you don't have to get a job that does all that. Like I'm just saying, I think this is not a curse. Me saying that you need to get a real job, that's not all doom and gloom. Like all you need to do is get a job that really that pulls like from a different part of you, you know? Cause you have your theatrical side and that's all right. But you know what, you are multifaceted. You can do other things. Gig work is gonna seem the most appealing to young actors because it's like everything about acting, it's about the flexibility. I'm gonna tell you that, me personally, that has not been my experience. It's gonna depend on the industry that you're in. It's gonna depend on the location that you're in. It's gonna depend on the caliber of jobs that you're going for. And I will tell you right now that flexibility does not matter for the first 5 years of your career. Because for the first 5 years of your career, you should be doing unpaid hobbyist acting, which hobbyist acting is going to revolve around the normal 9 to 5 working hours. And if you get a job that's super flexible outside of those working hours, you're kind of going to be fucked if a community theater wants to cast you and you're a server and you only work evenings and weekends, and they have their rehearsals on evenings and weekends because it works for the 20 other people that work normal jobs and also like do acting as a hobby, you know? So do what you like. Another thing about a lot of flexible jobs is that some people really like them. I personally, it's not for me. It was never for me. I hated working in hospitality personally, but I would also advise you to be cautious of taking these kinds of gig work early in your career, because I would argue that early in your career you should be setting yourself up with a good financial foundation. You really cannot advance very far in this career if you have all of your time, energy, your financial resources spent on just surviving and not on actually like training, on reading plays, reading books on acting. If you're not out there, you can't be out there auditioning if you have to pick up an extra shift, you know. A lot of these gig jobs, they don't provide like steady hours. Their wages are pretty bad in comparison like to the amount of gas money that you're spending, to the amount of mileage that you're putting on your car, doing things like that. A lot of jobs in hospitality also, well, at least in restaurants I know, that don't offer any sort of benefits, any health care. And if you like working in restaurants, and if like you get insurance from the marketplace or whatever, then, you know, don't listen to me, just do what makes you happy. But that's just my thing, and that you don't have to be a server if you don't want to. Like, it's a classic actor job for a reason, but it really doesn't work for everything. So I would do it if you like it, but not because you think you have to. Okay. So your other option in this is you can choose a traditional career path. You can go to college, you can go to graduate school, and then you can get a job in whatever field you want. And it depends a lot on the job. There are some instances where you will have to drop everything at a moment's notice. I say those instances are pretty rare, and if you are in the position where everything would not like be set on fire if you were to take a sick day, for example, I think those kinds of jobs, that those are acceptable for a professional acting profession. I thought that flexibility was really important, but now that I'm here, I was out here working, I'm like, I'm not as booked and busy as I thought I would be. I'm not getting the amounts of auditions that I thought I would be. Like the occasional one that you just have to like drop everything and go to Miami. Like that happens sometimes, but it happens a lot less commonly than you think it would because of a lot of factors, you know. The industry being slow. Sometimes you look, it just goes in and out of style. You could be booked and busy for like a year, a couple of months, and then the next you're in like a slow period. You're making no money, you're getting no bookings. Like that's why I say it's really important to prioritize your financial stability, and sometimes that means you miss an audition or two. I think that's fine. That's an audition that it was like a 1 in 1 billion chance that you were gonna get a yes on anyway. So why is it taking everything from you? Why does it need to take to take so much precedence in your life when you're not even a blip in like on like casting director's radar? So bro, just don't worry about it. Having a real job. I also want to say there are a lot of theatrical actor adjacent jobs that you could also make a living in. That's not solely like a series regular or like on Broadway, things like that. You can make a career out of children's birthday party entertainment. Some people make it work. Some people have like a fairly steady income, usually supplemented with like other gigs, with other jobs, but it's not nothing. Any kind of like recreational activities kind of job, like let me try to think of examples. If you work at a hotel, there's gonna be like an activities coordinator. If you work at like some museum is gonna have a public speaker or like some like fun show for kids, like that's also a real option. Theme park performance, that's as stable as it gets for an actor, and you can still that's performance. You're acting, you're singing, you're dancing. They have their own theatrical shows that are really great. You can play an instrument there. You could do so many things at a theme park. Theatrical education is another very very solid route if you want to become a drama teacher. I do want to warn you about theme park work specifically because I live in an area with a lot of theme parks and I have worked in a theme park before. I just want to say, doing anything for 40 hours a week can make you hate it. And the work that you're gonna be doing in these theme parks, me personally, I found it very not artistically fulfilling. A lot of the roles that they need are things that I'm not necessarily interested in doing. Things such as puppetry or full body costumed characters. Those things are really not for everybody, and you shouldn't do it unless you really want to, because it can be really difficult. And I will say that most of the people that I worked with had multiple jobs. Theme park wages, some companies are better than others. Like everything that exists that can make you hate a normal job also exists in like theatrical jobs, you know. So I don't want you to like go into there thinking that it's paradise on earth, because these companies, they have their problems like any other, like all theaters have problems. It's fine, but just know a lot of the people that I work with, it's hard to be working 50 to 60 hour work weeks across like 3 different jobs, because you want to get as many opportunities as possible and you want to get as much money as possible. I would say the average performer at my job had like 2 to 3 different jobs. Like it's crazy work. And maybe you sincerely don't mind it because it's something that you love, but it does take a physical toll on your body, especially if you're doing something like dancing or something like stunts or full body costumes, puppeteering. Those costumes are heavy as fuck. I remember one of my coworkers got like plantar fasciitis from these stupid character shoes that they had to wear. Another one of my coworkers mentioned getting nerve damage from some of the costumes. To be employed full-time at those kinds of jobs, it's very difficult on the body. And in my case, like I would prefer to do a job that is more sedentary, that tires my body out less, so that I can have more time and my free time to do something that I actually really enjoy and to keep my body protected, you know? So And so that's what's important to me. And it may not be important to you, but that's just my experience. Another thing that this says to me is you really have to define the way that you view success, because I would say getting paid to act like that is not the pinnacle of success. There are so many actors that only do community theater, that only do volunteer stuff, and it's just hard to describe, because there's nothing like it to feel like you are a part of the creative process, to feel that you've done your own spin and you've collaborated with all these people. A lot of the time you don't get that same experience when you're doing it as a job, when there's like a company and there's like managers on top of managers on top of managers, and it can make you feel very disconnected from the artistic process. But when it's on a small scale, like on that like community theater unpaid level, that can be so rewarding. And a lot of the time when you're doing paid work, a lot of the paid work in theater is like children's entertainment. It's stuff that's not particularly deep. I remember when I was a character performer, I thought my interactions would be a lot more meaningful than they were, but in actuality, I actually felt like I connected with people more deeply at my other front desk person job than I did as a character. I felt like a cardboard cutout more than I did an actor, because the kids would just like come and be like, "Hi," and they'd take a picture. Thank you. And it was nice. They were really cute, and I came up with like a lot of cute phrases. Hugged a lot of kids. That was really rewarding and fulfilling to me personally. But I just didn't get the chance to really talk to them. I felt it was more like it was like a factory. Like I was just like pushing those pictures out, like trying to take everybody in the line, and it was just, not as rewarding or artistically meaningful to me as I thought it would be. So that happened. That happens a lot in paid work. Don't think of like going pro as like I made it. Like you have to think like what would make me feel happy. What would make me feel fulfilled. It's not what other people think is legitimate or professional. So I forgot to add a bunch of things to this section. Can you tell that I don't script these? I wanted to add, can you read these little bullet points right there? Develop personality outside of acting. I already talked about that, but I didn't write it down. And just do both. So I wanted to tell this story. When I eventually decided to major in something else completely different, and to develop what I call a parallel career to my acting career. And it took me a long while to decide that, because I kept on focusing on that would be like 2 more years, because I already had my associate's degree. That'd be 2 years of my life that I would have to work a little bit less. I would have to focus on something else completely different, completely outside of my interests. And I wouldn't have any time to be able to devote to my actual studies of what I actually want to do. And that was really hard for me to come to terms with. But I think what finally convinced me that I was capable of doing this was just that, like, I don't have to choose one or the other. I can do both. I can do both at the same time, actually, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. And I am very fortunate to be in this position, because I do have that full scholarship that I was telling you guys about. I also received more. I don't want to get too much into the details. I'm not getting too much into the details. I don't want the IRS to come for me. But I actually received some excess, say, that I was able to put towards my car payment. And with that excess financial aid, I was able to pay off my car, so that I could work slightly less and still afford my dance classes and my private voice lessons. So that was a huge shocker to me. I didn't think that I'd be able to do that. And obviously everybody's financial situation is different, but like in my personal belief, I believe that once you take the leap of faith, then the stones they'll just start appearing for you. So that's my belief. Is there anything else I wanted to say? Yeah, just do both. Like, you really don't have to pick one or the other. You are so capable of doing both, and I think you owe it to yourself to do both, because if you're if you're serious about studying acting, then it's a source of joy for you. It's a source of stress relief to do that. So I don't think that you should give that up, and I don't think you need to. It obviously depends on what kind of program you're doing, but you should be doing something you like that doesn't take like a lot of energy from you, you know. It does take some exploration. It took me a lot of career exploration to land on what I wanted, and even then I think about changing it every single day. But it's fine, because you can change. Like, you can, like, a lot of people change careers in their lifetimes multiple times. So like, you still have time, you know. Another thing that finally convinced me to go on and develop a parallel career was knowing that I'm gonna be working like 75% of my time anyway, so I might as well invest the time and money to do something that I like, that doesn't make me want to kill myself, and that I can earn a little bit more money in, because entry level hospitality jobs, like, that was just not for me. Sometimes as a server you can make like pretty like really good money as a server, or in like some other tipped mostly positions, but again, it's an unstable income. You need to be really frugal and really smart with how you spend it, because there are a lot of slow periods. So yeah, just do something that you enjoy. Sometimes it's worth it if you have to take like a small break from acting to set up your financial foundation, because acting is like a lifelong learning process. So you're gonna have so much time to develop your skills and to develop your career. Okay, I think that's it. I'm on to my next point. Auditioning is the job. So, when I decided to start pursuing theater more professionally or more seriously, I had this fear. Like, I was scared of turning 18 and like aging out of the youth theater division, because I was like, if nobody's required to cast me, then nobody's gonna cast me ever again. And out of all of the irrational fears that a girl can have, I was kind of dead on with this one. Like, I did not get cast until like maybe after I graduated high school. I did not get cast for maybe 1.5 years, 2 years maybe. But then again, I was only auditioning for my college's productions. So it did not have a lot of luck there. This is not bad. This is not the worst. This is not hell. The solution to this, when you have that itch and you just wanna act, you can do a few things. Okay, number one is you could either take an acting class. Acting classes, you pay for them, so they have to give you a monologue. They have to give you a scene. Like, that's the point of the class, is for you to learn, not for you to succeed. Or they want you to succeed eventually, but that's not the point. The point is for you to learn first. So I would say, if you're feeling discouraged by something like that, just take a class, preferably in person. Some of them have a showcase, which is just like a play. It's just like a theater. Another thing that you can do, what else can you do? Write your own stuff and produce it. Write your own stuff and produce it. So this sounds a little bit crazy, but honestly, it's what a girl gotta do to get a job around here, to get some experience. Is you just gotta create the job yourself and then hire yourself. This is obviously a very daunting task if you have no writing experience. What I would suggest is you're gonna need some community support with this one, unless it's like a one-person play, which is fine. Some people do that. Some people are very successful with that. You would probably need somebody to do tech as well. Somebody to give you the space that you're gonna produce it in. Which, by the way, this doesn't even need to be a theater. You could do a monologue in a park. You could do a play in a park. You could do a play in the library for free. Like those people love that shit. Like if you don't have like actor friends that can assist you with this, what I would suggest would be you look on Facebook, you Google your city actors or your city theater network. There's gonna be somebody in there that's willing to help you put on something that would love the opportunity to be a part of it, like a little project like that. Some of these things, rehearsals can happen in your apartment. Just don't think too much about it. Just do your own thing. It's fun. It's really fun when you get to do it. And then, what is it? Audition everywhere. For everything. Audition everywhere for everything. And by audition everywhere, I mean a 2 hour commute, 4 hours in total. I mean, besides the play that I was finally cast in as an understudy, by the way, at my college, besides that, my first other play that I was cast in, it was at this community theater that was about an hour and 30 minutes away from my house. I don't mean to disparage them, because I love that theater, but from what I noticed that they frequently did a lot of very large ensemble plays and musicals and productions and things like that. And I think they did that because when you cast as many people as possible, then you have like all of those people's friends and family coming to buy tickets. So some people do that. Some theaters are very specific and particular, and they have strong ties to the actors that they already cast and they already know. So they're going to be less willing to cast outsiders. They're going to be... Some theaters have like a very large pool of actors to pick from that they can afford to be really picky. And some theaters will take anybody that walk in through the door. So like sometimes... you gotta drive an hour and 30 minutes to go to those theaters if you're serious about this, you know? Audition for everything, that's, at the end of the day, that's, to increase your success rate, you have to increase your failure rate. This is just the thing that you gotta do when you're an actor, and it does take a toll on you. I had to take a break from it after a year from doing it because the commute was just driving me absolutely insane. So, take breaks when you need to. You know, if you can't, if you live in like buttfuck nowhere, I don't know, man. You can find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. You can find another option. I wanted to add to this actually. Rejection is information. So when I first auditioned for my college, I had a particularly traumatizing audition experience because I had some sort of laryngitis at the time, or something similar to it, because a few days before I went to the Eras tour, and of course I lost my mind and I lost my voice. And it was a musical theater audition. I had an absolutely terrible audition. I did not sound anything like how I thought I would. I was very nervous. And they sent me out the first thing they could. They were like, thanks, we don't need anything more from you. And I was like, And the next day, I bought some private voice lessons. Auditions, sometimes rejections, sometimes they can be the most useful learning experiences. They can tell you, because especially in group auditions, I was very nervous doing my first group audition because it's like you're seeing the competition. You can feel very intimidated by them. But what I choose to take from them is I notice the people that catch my eye and what they're doing to stand out so much, to be so noticeable. And I learn from that, and I like just take their traits and I take them for myself, and then it makes me a better actor. So rejection is information. It's very valuable information. So, my third point. Don't change yourself. I'm running out of space. One thing that I always thought about ever since I was a little kid, I could never be a Disney princess because I don't have a small dainty nose. And I still, that thought still stays with me. Like since I live by an area that has Disney, that were the Disney princess jobs, the princess parties, they're like a large part of the entertainment industry around here. That it can just be like, it just has felt very discouraging to me. I've thought about like plastic surgery. I've thought about a nose job. When I see other performers, like they take care of themselves. Like, they're gorgeous. Like, they always seem to me very inhumanly perfect. And when I work with them, I sometimes feel very intimidated by them, and they kind of like feel like aliens to me. And I always thought, well, I'm not an alien, so I can't do what they do. Even though I was literally there being an actor along with them. A new attitude that I try to adopt now is, when you see injustice in the world, when you see inequality, you don't think, I need to change. You think, I can be the change. Because you know what? Why should I need to get a nose job to do a job that has literally absolutely nothing to do with my nose? Like in my specific example, Disney princesses are kind. They're kind to animals. They're kind to others. They're selfless. They help others. They're brave. They go on new adventures. Like, what the fuck does the shape of my nose have to do with anything? Like, that's not fair. That's not fair. And that needs to change. And if I have to be the one to change it, then so be it. Because where would this world be if like people saw injustice and just accepted the status quo? Where would we be if women were like, oh, only men are scientists, so I can't be a scientist? Because like that, like, why would you accept that? Like, that's nothing. That's a nothing burger. That has absolutely nothing to do with a woman's ability to be a scientist. And it took a woman to be like, I don't need to change. There's nothing wrong with me for wanting to be a scientist. It's the society that needs to change. And I can be the change. I don't know who did that, but somebody did that. Somebody did that, and now society has changed. Like, you can't think that society is this like permanent thing, because the cultural norms, the cultural beliefs, they change all the time. And they change slowly. Like, it's not gonna be, I'm pretty sure maybe in like 5 years from now, like, I'm still gonna feel insecure about my nose, because that's gonna be the beauty standard 5 years from now. But imagine how much the beauty standard has changed since the 2000s, you know? When like heroin chic was still a thing and you had to like shrink the size of your butt. Like, imagine how different the world is now. That's why I say, don't change yourself, because most of the time that change is permanent, and society is never permanent. So don't change yourself. Don't do anything. If somebody tells you to get a nose job, don't do it. Don't do it. You have to fight for yourself. So my fourth lesson, I need to wrap this shit up. I'm gonna run out of space. There are many paths to success. There are many paths to success. What I mean by that is, do not get heartbroken if you're not accepted into a particular acting school, an acting studio, and whatever you think you need to achieve your dreams. Because whatever you think you need is not that. You don't need all that. You can go to university and get a BFA. You can train at a bunch of different acting studios with acting coaches. You can just go and do community theater and just like figure it out from there. You could read books on acting. What I would recommend, in my personal opinion, a university academic theatrical education can be so fantastic. It can be so valuable. It gives you a degree, for one, that you can use, that you can transfer to other fields. If you want to go into education, then you're going to need some type of credential for that. My caveat is, it's not worth it if you have to go into debt. If you are taking out loans, if you are like putting a significant amount of your savings into one of these university programs. If your daddy owns a hedge fund, then then go for it. But if you're the average Joe, a university acting program is going to have a very low return on investment because it's not a job. It's not a job. It's not a real job. You can succeed without all that. You can succeed without all that. And in fact, I encourage you, if you have the means, to study something else other than theater, because personality, you need a personality. You need a personality that is not being an actor. You need a hobby that's not being an actor. Number 5, my final advice. Don't listen to people. I know this is very ironic, but hear me out. So when I was deciding what to do with my career after I experienced that unemployment, after I was reevaluating my choices and seeing what else I could do, I was feeling very lost. I remember just what I wanted to do at the time was I just wanted to continue working and saving and putting that money towards acting classes, towards my voice lessons and things like that, so that I could continue doing professional musical theater. I felt very weird about that choice because I had this full scholarship to my local university still that would expire pretty soon, and I would ask everybody if it was crazy for me to not take that opportunity, when I know that that's such a rare opportunity for so many people, and so many people would kill for that opportunity. And I just wanted to work and become an actor. I would ask everybody, is that crazy? Is what I want practical? Is it realistic? What? And I think that led me down a path that ultimately I was not happy with, and that I did not feel was in my best interest. I didn't feel like I was serving my purpose in that, because I was making my decisions based on other people's values. The culture is very materialistic. It can be very individualistic, and being an actor is it's hard on so many levels. The constant rejection, the being broke all the time, the difficult hours, the being on call basically, the long periods of time without work. It's hard. It's hard for anybody, but the thing is, everybody experiences difficulty differently, and some challenges are suitable to some people and then not suitable for others. So I feel like in the career decisions that I've made, I've let other people's definitions of difficulty sway me, when in reality, there's nothing worth doing in life that's easy, and you shouldn't let that discourage you from this path, because it is hard, but so is everything else. Something that people say about almost every industry now is that it's hard, underpaid, and you shouldn't do it unless you're passionate about it. Don't listen to people, because other people have different values, and you can't make your decisions based on other people's values. You have to know your own values and make decisions based on those values, Also, a lot of people, they think they're saving you. They think they're helping you, but in actuality, they're projecting themselves onto you, and they have no idea the kind of future that you can create for yourself, especially if you're really determined, if you're really sharp. You can do, it's not impossible. Nothing is impossible. If somebody else can do it, then you can do it too. It takes time. This culture is sick. People's values are all out of whack. You can't ask them to believe in you because they don't even believe in themselves. So you just you have to listen to yourself, and you have to listen to the little voices inside you. And if you have a little voice and it's telling you to go and fuck off and be an actor, and you've had that little voice for forever, then you just gotta You gotta do it. You gotta do it. You owe it to yourself to do that, to do what you want. Because another thing that I learned is that mistakes feel so good when they're your mistakes to make. Like, I don't regret a single thing that I did in this process because I learned so much from it. I feel like I became a better person from it. I feel like acting, it has made me a better person. I think it taught me humility. It taught me how to handle rejection. It taught me how to not take rejection so personally. It taught me how to empathize with others. It taught me how to listen. It taught me how to like myself and appreciate myself, because something that I should have added to number 3 is that what's something that's more important than being like the best, the most talented, the most experienced, is in your ability to just be so disgustingly yourself that you make such a strong impression that even if you don't get cast for a project, the casting director will remember you, because they remember you as knowing who you are, being authentic to yourself, and being unique. Because everybody is good. Everybody is so good. Everybody is so talented. They're not gonna remember that you hit a C5. They're not gonna remember that you did a cartwheel or a flip or whatever. They're gonna remember how you were different from the others. So you need to, how do you be different? You be yourself. To recap, you need a real job. That's not a death sentence. That can be fun. You can develop a personality outside of being an actor. You can explore some different interests, and those things will make you a better actor. 2, auditioning is the job. It sucks. There are some ways you can mediate it. You can take an acting class. You can write your own play. You can audition for everything everywhere until you get something. And rejection is information. It's going to teach you how to be better and where you can improve. Don't change yourself. Don't get a nose job. If somebody tells you to get a nose job, tell them go fuck yourself. I don't need to get a nose job. I don't need to change. You're the one that needs to change. And 4, there are many paths to success. You don't need a degree. You don't need to go to Juilliard. You can just, you make your own path. You do whatever you want. You can be successful. You define success for yourself. And 5, don't listen to other people. You gotta listen to yourself, and you gotta listen to your own values. So, I think that's all I have to say for now. So, thanks for listening to me. I'll see you later.